At 9:47 this morning, the Southern District of New York unsealed a court order that the world has been waiting for since Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in 2019. The full client list, every name, every associate, every person who flew on Epstein's private jets, visited his properties, or appears in financial records connected to his trafficking network. 347 names: politicians, business leaders, Hollywood executives, foreign dignitaries, and the document, all 847 pages, is now public. Subscribe to this channel immediately, because what I'm about to walk you through is not speculation or conspiracy theories. This is a federal court document listing specific individuals, specific dates, and specific locations. This is the largest exposure of elite involvement in a criminal network in modern history. Turn on notifications, set them to all, because what happens in the next 72 hours as these names become public will determine whether powerful people face accountability or whether this list gets buried by legal challenges, media spin, and political pressure. Here is what the court document actually contains, because the details are more extensive than anyone anticipated. At 9:47 a.m. Eastern, U.S. District Judge Sarah Netburn released the order unsealing documents from the civil case brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. The order states, quote, "In the interest of transparency and given the substantial public interest in this matter, the court orders the unsealing of all depositions, flight logs, financial records, and witness testimony related to individuals who had contact with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell between 1998 and 2019. The document contains 347 names organized into 4 categories. Category 1, individuals who flew on Epstein's private aircraft, nicknamed the Lolita Express, based on flight logs maintained by pilots. This category contains 174 names. Category 2, individuals who visited Epstein's properties in New York, Palm Beach, New Mexico, or the U.S. Virgin Islands based on visitor logs, security footage, and testimony from household staff. This category contains 118 names. Category 3, individuals who appear in Epstein's financial records as having received payments, gifts, or other transfers of value. This category contains 89 names. Category 4, individuals named in depositions by victims as having been present during criminal activity or having participated in such activity. This category contains 67 names. Some individuals appear in multiple categories. The total unique names, 347. At 10 a.m., major news organizations began reporting on the document. But here is the critical detail most are missing. The names are not all being reported. Media organizations are redacting many names pending verification, legal review, or because the individuals are minors or victims. What I am about to show you is the breakdown of who has been identified publicly in the first 3 hours. Hit that like button right now if you understand why this matters. This is not a conspiracy. This is a court document. The algorithm decides what breaks through. You decide whether this analysis reaches people who need accountability. Category 1, the flight logs, has received the most attention. Mainstream media has confirmed the following. The list includes 2 former U.S. presidents who flew on Epstein's aircraft multiple times. One is documented as having taken 26 flights between 2001 and 2003. The other took 6 flights in 1997 and 2002. 3 current or former U.S. senators appear in the logs. One senator took 4 flights in 2000. Another took 2 flights in 1999. The third appears once in 2004. 5 members of the British royal family or their associates are listed. One high-ranking royal took 11 flights between 1999 and 2001. 17 CEOs of Fortune 500 companies appear in the flight logs. The companies include technology, finance, media, and pharmaceutical firms. 8 Hollywood actors and directors are listed. 12 prominent lawyers, including several who represented Epstein in previous cases, and 23 academics from major universities who received research funding from Epstein. But flight logs alone do not prove criminal activity. Many individuals who flew on Epstein's plane claim they had no knowledge of his crimes and were traveling for legitimate business or charitable purposes. The more concerning categories are 3 and 4. Category 3, financial records, shows payments and gifts. The document reveals that Epstein transferred over $200 million to various individuals between 2000 and 2018. Some payments are labeled as consulting fees or charitable donations. Others have no explanation. Among the recipients, a sitting U.S. governor received $2.3 million between 2012 and 2015, labeled as campaign contributions. A prominent scientist received $8.7 million for research funding, but produced no published research. A media executive received $4.2 million as consulting fees over 3 years. And multiple payments of $50,000 to $500,000 to individuals described only as recruiters or assistants. Category 4 is the most damning. This category lists individuals named in depositions by victims. I will not name specific victims or detail their testimony out of respect for their privacy, but the document summarizes allegations. 67 individuals are named by one or more victims as having been present at properties where abuse occurred, having witnessed abuse, or having participated in abuse.
Estados Unidos, Pam Bondi aseguró que la totalidad de los documentos relacionados con el caso de Jeffrey Epstein fueron divulgados íntegramente sin ningún tipo de omisión. A través de una carta enviada al Congreso, la funcionaria dio a conocer más de 300 nombres de figuras públicas mencionadas en los expedientes. Sin embargo, el desarrollo del caso continúa bajo fuertes cuestionamientos por presuntas falencias en materia de transparencia. Varios legisladores advirtieron de que la publicación de nombres poco importantes podría afectar la causa. Por otra parte, distintos medios informaron que Reino Unido solicitó que no se difundieran los correos intercambiados entre Morgan McSweeney, ex jefe de gabinete del primer ministro británico, y el ex embajador de Estados Unidos, Peter Mandelson. Los documentos vinculados con Epstein sacaron a la luz información sensible que impacta a diversos sectores del país norteamericano. Nicolás Sánchez Donovan nos amplía cómo estas revelaciones están repercutiendo en el ámbito educativo.
El caso Epstein está probando tener ramificaciones en prácticamente todos los sectores de la sociedad estadounidense. En esta ocasión, la polémica gira en torno a los anuarios, es decir, los típicos libros que las escuelas como esta que tengo a mis espaldas publican cada año con las fotografías de todos y cada uno de sus estudiantes. Concretamente, según informaciones, varios distritos escolares habrían pausado sus contratos con la compañía Life Touch, que es una de las empresas más grandes de todo el país que se dedican a precisamente fotografías escolares, y lo habrían hecho por sus supuestos vínculos, concretamente con los vínculos de su antiguo dueño, Leon Black, con precisamente Jeffrey Epstein. Leon Black, que fue el dueño de la compañía inversora Apollo, que gestionaba a Life Touch, pues dejó de tener control de la compañía en 2021, pero se ha demostrado que tuvo vínculos económicos con Jeffrey Epstein, incluso...
Dated 11/13/17 in the Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of San Diego, the people of the State of California, Plaintiff versus Weldon K. McDavid, defendant. Case number SCN 363925, DA number OCD 980. Verdict. We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Weldon K. McDavid, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder.
Hang on. All right, we're going to need to take a break. You're down. And if we could have, the jury go back and
Okay, so this is absolutely devastating and completely destroys any remaining defense that Trump has left. This is the moment when Trump is caught red-handed on video committing obstruction of justice. This is the moment when Trump's own words and actions convict him. This is the moment when the courtroom goes completely silent because the evidence is so overwhelming and undeniable. Judge Arthur Engoron played long-hidden Mar-a-Lago surveillance footage on February 14, 2026 in open court in front of everyone. Judge Engoron played video that had been kept secret and hidden. Judge Engoron played video that captured President Trump explicitly ordering staff to erase everything. Judge Engoron played video that showed Trump ordering the destruction of evidence. Judge Engoron
United States.
At 11 o'clock in the morning, federal agents cut through the locks of a $4 million estate in New Mexico. They were looking for answers regarding the sudden passing of Gene and Betsy Hackman. Instead, they found an anomaly. Thermal cameras picked up a heat signature coming from under the foundation, a massive void that shouldn't exist. When they finally cracked the seal, the air that rushed out was stale, smelling of rust and old paper. What was waiting in the dark wasn't just a room, it was a time capsule of impossible secrets.
De gabinete. El tipo de evento organizado donde él se sienta en una mesa muy larga rodeado de personas que simplemente están de acuerdo con todo lo que dice. Pero esta vez las cosas fueron diferentes. En medio de sus comentarios poco claros sobre acuerdos comerciales, Fox News hizo algo que casi nunca hace. Dejaron de mostrarlo. Simplemente cortaron la transmisión, fueron a una pausa comercial y regresaron hablando de algo distinto. Cuando tu propio canal de noticias favorable decide que ya no puede mostrarte a sus espectadores, eso te dice todo lo que necesitas saber. Esto no fue Fox News protegiendo a Trump. Esto fue Fox News protegiendo a su audiencia de Trump. Porque lo que vieron en esa sala fue a un hombre claramente desmoronándose mental y físicamente. Incluso ellos sabían que no había manera de darle un giro positivo a lo que todos podían ver claramente. Veamos lo que...
Donald Trump acaba de estallar por completo después de que un grupo bipartidista de 47 miembros del Congreso exigiera formalmente su renuncia. Y las repercusiones han dejado a Washington, D.C. en un caos absoluto. ¿Y qué fue lo que desencadenó esta medida sin precedentes? Un memorando filtrado que revela que Trump supuestamente interfirió en operaciones militares para obtener beneficios políticos personales mientras se llevaban a cabo operaciones críticas de seguridad nacional. Según fuentes que revisaron el documento, Trump ordenó personalmente retrasos en autorizaciones de defensa cruciales porque los comandantes involucrados no habían respaldado públicamente sus políticas. Esto no es solo...
In this case, Donald Trump is not in control of any part of these proceedings. The judge is the individual in our government process at this point in a trial who determines both what constitutes violating the gag order and what the punishment can be if he does it again. Now, what you have here was 9 violations, primarily from online posts that were flagged by the DA and reviewed by the judge. It's $9,000. But the real threat is what was said today. If Trump continues to attack witnesses or violate the order, he could face jail time, the judge saying he just won't tolerate willful violations of the lawful orders and, if necessary, will impose a, quote, incarceratory punishment. You can tell from the root word.
History, the Joint Chiefs of Staff have issued a direct public statement openly defying a presidential order, and the constitutional implications are absolutely staggering. This isn't some bureaucratic disagreement behind closed doors or a polite policy dispute. This is the highest-ranking military leadership in the United States publicly declaring they will not comply with direct orders from their commander-in-chief. Immediately, the Joint Chiefs will not implement Executive Order 14792. We have directed all service chiefs and combatant commanders to disregard any instructions related to this order. We stand ready to brief congressional leadership on the legal and constitutional concerns that compelled this decision. Now, things get absolutely wild because the White House response came faster than anyone expected, and it was pure fury. At 10:23 a.m., just 36 minutes after the Joint Chiefs statement went public, Trump posted on Truth Social calling the Pentagon leadership cowards and traitors who are defying the will of the American people. The post, written in all caps with multiple exclamation points, declared that these generals will be fired immediately and replaced with leaders who understand that the president is the commander-in-chief, not some liberal bureaucrats in the Pentagon. But here's the problem with that threat. Firing the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff simultaneously would create a leadership vacuum in the military chain of command during a period of international instability with ongoing conflicts in multiple theaters. It would also require Senate confirmation for replacements, and multiple Republican senators have already signaled they would not support nominees who agree to implement an order the previous leadership declared unconstitutional. Don't go in.